How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I was just opening this up to see if anyone's here.
Uh,
Got another
wh-
like 10, 15 minutes.
What time do we start?
9:05.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn the video off and drink some.
Okay.
But I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. If someone could tell me if they could hear me in the chat, that would be great. I put my headphones on. I'm not sure if it works. Can anyone hear me? Okay. Yes, thank you guys, thank you. Okay, so if you want to put your name in the chat as well, Bria, you'd already did that, thank you. It's just a little attendance, that way when I save the chat, I'll have a little record. That would be great. Good morning. Okay. I'll give everyone another minute or two. Okay. Tammy, patience is here. Is here. Julian. Evan. Caitlin. Okay. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, we'll get started, guys. Good morning. We have made it a third of the way through class, so pretty big milestone here. People coming in. For those coming in, please put your name in the chat as a little record for attendance. And I'm gonna share my screen here with you guys. Good morning. Again, those of you coming in, please just put your name in the chat so that I have a little record of who's here. Okay, so what we're going to do today is talk mainly about skin cancer, and that's going to be our focus. But I first want to go back and just show you guys kind of where we are. Again, we're a third of the way through the class. So we finished module 1. In module 1, we talked about really little things, right? We talked about atoms and molecules, and we worked our way up to cells. And we're actually reaching the end of module 2 now. And so last week we talked about tissues and our 4 major tissue types, right? Epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. And today we're going to move past that and talk about our first organ system, which is our integumentary system, which is our skin and our hair and other appendages of our skin. So as a reminder of what you guys have coming up due, right, we've got guided reading questions 3B and 4, which are due on Sunday. You've got a discussion. The post was due on Wednesday, I believe, but you also make sure you comment on one of your peers' posts. So you need to do a post and then a comment on someone's post just to show me that you read through at least a little bit of that chat. And then for the end of the unit, we have a homework. Now, I moved the quiz, the deadline for the quiz. So rather than having the normal 24 hours to take the quiz, you're going to have 48 hours. So you'll have on Monday and Tuesday. And I did that because I forgot that Monday was a holiday. Monday is Labor Day. So the university is going to be closed. And with that, IT is going to be closed. And I'm not sure the hours of like computer labs, for example. So if you need to take your test at a computer lab, I want to make sure that we have time to do that. Now, the quiz is going to be using Proctorio, which is the online proctoring service. Basically what it does is it uses the webcam on your laptop or computer to film you, and it locks down the other browsers so you can only look at the quiz. So you need to make sure you enable Proctorio, you download that extension, you take it on Chrome. And if you have issues, the help desk, the IT help desk has been pretty good at helping people work through that. The Module 2 quiz will be the same setup as the Module 1 quiz, but it will only cover material from Module 2. So it's not going to ask you about pH scales and chemical reactions or the cell, right? It's only going to ask you about tissues and the integumentary system. So that's a good thing. So we're here in Class 4 agenda. Before I keep going, are there any questions? If you guys want to put those in the chat, I'll stop and I'll answer those questions. Assuming there are none, so if you guys want to open up your Class 4 agenda, the Class 4 attendance quiz, the question I would like you to answer is I want you to take a guess about which of our 4 major tissue types can we find on the top layers of our skin in the epidermis. Is it epithelial? Is it connective? Is it nervous? Or is it muscle? If you guys could write that as your attendance quiz, I'll give you guys a second to do that. Okay. Great. Okay, and then if you guys want to write down in the chat what you wrote for your quiz. Is it epithelial? Is it connective? Is it nervous? Or is it muscle? And we'll see kind of what people are thinking in terms of the epidermis. Epithelial, 1 vote for epithelial. Any other votes? Anyone agree with patients?
This is for Class 4 assignment.
Class 4 attendance quiz. So you open up the Class 4 agenda, and the first bullet is Class 4 attendance quiz, and you click on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Evan. Okay, we got 3 votes for epithelial tissue. 4. Okay, so we all seem to be pretty much in agreement, right? So yes, the epidermis, the more superficial layers of your skin, this is epithelial tissue. The dermis is made mainly of connective tissue. And the hypodermis, below the dermis, is made of connective tissue, specifically of adipose tissue. So we're going to keep the framework of tissues as we move through our organ systems, right? Because in order to understand what's happening in our organs and our organ systems, we really have to understand what's happening at the tissue level too. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to watch 2 short videos. And while you watch these videos, I want you guys to be taking notes, because at the end, after the videos, you're going to have to put your name and write one thing you learned from the video that's different from what someone else wrote. So a unique thing that you learned, a fact. So you're going to want to take notes, that way you can contribute facts. And where this document comes from, again, at the Class 4 agenda, at the bottom here is this Google Doc. Okay, so you're going to open the Google Doc on your laptop. And the thing you want to keep in mind is, again, you need to be logged on to your UNCP email. So if you see here where it has the C, when I click on it, it has my UNCP email address, not my personal Gmail. If you're logged on with your personal Gmail, you won't be able to open it. So make sure you're logged on to your UNCP email, open this Google Doc, open another sheet so you can take notes, or you can handwrite your notes. And we're going to watch 2 short videos.
Skin cancer is an uncontrolled growth of cells within the skin. There are 3 main types: basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and melanoma. Some skin cancers can be spread to other.
So the book and the guided reading questions, again, touch on those 3 types of skin cancer: basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, and melanoma. But for our in-class activity, we're really going to focus on melanoma because it's the most deadly form of skin cancer.
Locations in the body and can be fatal, as seen with singer-songwriter Bob Marley, who died shortly after being diagnosed with melanoma. The skin is divided into 3 layers: the epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. The hypodermis is made of fat and connective tissue that anchors the skin to the underlying muscle. Just above is the dermis, which contains hair follicles, nerves, and blood vessels. And just above that, the outermost skin layer, is the epidermis.
Okay, so this video talks about, again, the epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. Your textbook differentiates that a little bit, and it does not include the hypodermis as part of your skin proper. It considers it just the deeper layer to your skin. So it's just like a nitpicky thing to pay attention to. Another good thing about videos, and we're only going to watch part of this video, but the link is on the Class 4 agenda. And videos are a great way to help you study. And so what you want to do when you watch a video, again, is you want to take notes on the important parts. You're not writing down every single word that the video says, right? But you're writing down the key points. And then to test yourself as a way of seeing if you really understand what the video covers, what you can do is watch the video but turn the sound off and see if you can provide the voiceover, if you can explain what you're seeing on the screen. And if you can, that's a good way of knowing that you are comfortable and familiar with the material.
The epidermis itself has multiple skin layers that are mostly keratinocytes, which are named for the keratin protein that they're filled with. Keratin is a strong, fibrous protein that allows keratinocytes to protect themselves from getting destroyed, like when you rub your hands through the sand at the beach. Keratinocytes start their life at the deepest layer of the epidermis, called the stratum basale, or basal layer, which is made of a single layer of small cuboidal to low columnar stem cells that continually divide and produce new keratinocytes that continue to mature as they migrate up through the epidermal layers, flattening out to a pancake-like squamous shape as they ascend. But the stratum basale also contains another group of cells, melanocytes, which secrete a protein pigment or coloring substance called melanin. Melanin is actually a broad term that constitutes several types of melanin found in people of differing skin color. These subtypes of melanin range in color from black to reddish yellow, and the relative quantity and rate at which they are metabolized define a person's skin color. When keratinocytes are exposed to the sun, they send a chemical signal to the melanocytes, which stimulates them into making more melanin. The melanocytes move the melanin into small sacs called melanosomes, and these get taken up by the newly formed keratinocytes, which will later metabolize the melanin as they migrate into higher layers of the epidermis.
So again, your melanocytes are going to make more melanin in response to the sunlight, and then they'll move them into nearby cells. And this is why usually after a sun exposure, it takes a little bit of time before you see a tan or a sunburn or something, because those cells have to then migrate.
Melanin then acts as a natural sunscreen because its protein structure dissipates or scatters UVB light, which, if left unchecked, can damage the DNA in the skin cells and lead to skin cancer. Melanocytes can also be found in the dermis, at the base of the hair follicle, where they transfer melanin to the keratinized cells that make up hair. Now, a tumor develops if there's a DNA mutation in any of these cell types that leads to uncontrolled cell division. Typically, these are mutations in proto-oncogenes, which results in a promotion of cell division, or mutations in tumor suppressor genes, which result in a loss of inhibition of cell division.
Okay, so we want to think about this for a second, and we're going to come back to this when we talk about other types of cancers, but this is an important concept for you guys to really think about when we talk about tumors. So to get cancer, to get a tumor to develop, you don't just need one mutation. One mutation is not going to cut it, right? You need to have several DNA mutations, and they need to occur in two types of genes. The first genes that need to be mutated are our proto-oncogenes. These are the ones that tell your cells to grow and divide. For example, for your skin, we might need those genes right when you get a cut, or just in general when you're growing, you're going to need more cells, right? So if we mutate those, it's like hitting the accelerator on a car. Normally you need a little bit of acceleration and then you need to stop hitting the gas, right, when you want to slow down. But in this case, the accelerator is stuck all the way. So the tumor cells are going to keep growing and growing and dividing, and they're not going to slow down for anything. We also need mutations in our tumor suppressor genes, which are like the brakes of our car. So we need to cut the brakes and cut all of the stops that tell the cells, okay, you've reached enough, you need to stop growing. So you need both proto-oncogenes and tumor suppressor genes to be mutated to get a tumor. And the video is going to explain that, but I thought I would just go over that again because it is a really important point.
You can think of proto-oncogenes as the accelerator or gas pedal, and tumor suppressor genes as the brakes. Too much acceleration or an inability to break, can lead to runaway cell division. As a result, the mutated cells can start piling up on each other and can become a tumor mass. Some of these tumors are benign and stay well contained or localized, but some can become malignant tumors or cancers, and these are the ones that break through their basement membrane and invade nearby tissues. Malignant tumor cells can get into nearby blood or lymph vessels and travel from the primary site to establish a secondary site of tumor growth somewhere else in the body, and that's called metastasis.
Okay, we're gonna have to watch a YouTube ad now because I don't have the fancy YouTube, but it should be over soon. This is fun, right? Advertisements. So take a minute, make sure you've covered that in your notes, and that you're ready to go here. Oh, another ad. Oh, good, excellent. At least we can skip this one. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Skin cancer is differentiated based upon the type of skin cell that's involved in the tumor mass.
Okay, so we're going to skip ahead to melanoma here. So we're going to skip squamous cell carcinoma and basal cell carcinoma, and we're going to jump right
Finally,
to
the most
melanoma.
aggressive form of skin cancer is melanoma, which involves melanocytes. Now, melanocytic nevus, more commonly known as a mole, results from a type of melanocyte that overproduces melanin. These moles can be considered precancerous because they carry an increased risk of becoming a melanoma. Melanomas grow horizontally within the epidermis and superficial dermis, and they grow vertically, invading the dermis. Metastasis is most associated with the depth of invasion, and in
Okay.
fact,
Let's think about that for a second. Metastasis, or the spreading of the melanoma, is most associated with the depth of invasion. And that makes sense when you think about the anatomy of our skin, right? The epidermis, we say, is avascular, which means there are no blood vessels in our epidermis, in the top few layers of our skin. Instead, the blood vessels are located in our dermis, right? And so if you are to flake off little bits of your skin, you peel your cuticles here, you peel off little bits, it's not going to bleed until you reach dermis. So if you feel pain or you see blood, you've gone all the way through the epidermis and hit the dermis. And so if the melanoma is going in deep and it rises at the dermis, then it's going to have access to the blood supply, and from there it will be able to travel.
melanoma is the most deadly form of skin cancer because of its tendency to metastasize quickly. Typically, the tumor cells have a large nuclei with irregular contours and produce melanin in a variety of colors: brown, red, dark blue, and gray. The causes of skin cancer can be both genetic and environmental. By far, the leading environmental factor is UV exposure from the sun or tanning booths. Often, the risk of developing skin cancer increases as sun exposure over a lifetime accumulates. Some viral infections, like human papillomavirus, immunosuppression, and having light skin also tend to increase risk.
Okay, we'll come back to risk in the second half of the class when we talk about our case study. Are there any questions that you guys have so far about skin cancer? So I'll put them in the chat. We're going to watch a short video about a woman named Jackie who was diagnosed with melanoma at a young age. And so I think it's important to be aware of this because melanoma is on the rise, especially in young people. So let's hear Jackie's story.
During my senior year in college, I had a lump in my bikini line. At first, I was told it was just maybe an inflamed hair follicle, or it was just a lymph node, and that I was young and healthy and fine. So that was my entire senior year. In my heart, I knew something was wrong. I graduated from college, and this lump started to grow, so much so that in clothing you could see it. I went back to my primary care physician, who I was now in Orlando, and he immediately referred me to a surgical oncologist. So at age 22, when you've been told there was nothing wrong for over a year, to see a referral to a surgical oncologist is quite alarming. I went to the surgical oncologist, they removed that lump, and he told me that it was metastatic melanoma. In that instant, I was just shocked. To be 22, to learn you have the deadly form of skin cancer, that it's already stage 3, it was devastating. At a point where all of my friends were beginning their careers and looking forward, I was told my life might end sooner than I expected. I was always told about the risk factors for skin cancer, and as far as I knew, it was fair skin, middle aged Caucasian. That's what I thought was the main risk population for developing melanoma. So to be a 22-year-old black female, pretty shocking to hear that. I was instructed to just wait it out. And I was told I would be surveilled. I didn't realize how serious my condition was at that time. So I went on to grad school. I went overseas on a Fulbright grant, and I really was just enjoying my life. And I came back home from being in Armenia, and it was like Groundhog Day all over again. I had a lump in the same area. At that point, it had traveled through the whole chain. After being instructed by my healthcare professional to watch and wait, and learning that my condition had progressed as a result of that, I try to encourage other people to be their own healthcare advocates. Maybe an
Okay, so we're gonna stop that there. Okay, so I think that that's important just to show you guys that, you know, again, melanoma is on the rise among young people. This is a problem not just for older folks. And so it's something that we need to be aware of. We need to be aware of what changes are happening in your body and be your own healthcare advocate. So for the second half of the class, if you guys look on the class 4 agenda, you'll see, here, let me share one more time. Okay, so if you look at the class 4 agenda here, you'll see we have, if you scroll down, we got a melanoma case study. So if you guys want to open up this case study, we're going to be doing parts 1 and 2. We're going to be doing parts 1 and 2. So part 1 here, part 2 here, it's loaded. Okay. And what I want you guys to do first, I'm going to break you into breakout groups. Yeah, so great. Put your name, one thing you learned from the video in this first tab here. And then in the second tab, you're going to put your breakout group numbers. And then as a group, you guys are going to come up with answers for part 1, questions 1 and 2, and part 2, questions 1 and 2. So what you're going to be working on now, again, is your fact you learned from the video. And then I'll break you into groups. And as a group, you'll work on the case study. Okay. Stop sharing. Do you guys have any questions? Any questions so far? No. Okay.
I have one.
Yeah, what's up, Evan?
How do you get to the document?
So in the same class 4 agenda, if you scroll down, there's a bullet point that says melanoma case study. And if you click on the case study, it's a document. But it's a PDF, so you have to type your answers. Oh, is that what you're asking about?
I was asking about the thing where everybody types their notes together.
Google Doc. Okay. At the class 4 agenda, at the very bottom, you'll see something that's like doc.google, the last part of that page. If you click on that, or copy and paste that into a new tab.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I see it.
That, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else have any other questions? No. Okay, I'm going to put you guys into breakout groups. Again, what you're working on in your breakout groups is the case study, and you want to have answers for each of the questions. So this is going to involve you guys like talking to each other with words from your mouth. Okay? Open in the rooms. So you should see on the side tab a little invitation to join a breakout room. Click on that and join your group. Awesome. Okay. Okay, breakout room 1. How are you guys doing?
Okay, I'm confused. So which part are we supposed to do again? You said part 1 and 2?
Part 1 and 2. So as a group, you're going to read part 1 and 2 and then come up with your group's answer for the questions after part 1 and the questions after part 2.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
right. And then you said put it in the Google Doc?
Yeah, the second tab of the Google Doc is
Uh-huh.
where you guys will put your answers. You guys are breakout room number 1, so you'll write breakout room 1 and then you'll write your group answers. But make sure you guys like talk about it first and agree on your responses.
Okay, perfect.
That makes sense. Tanya, Caitlin, you guys, Victoria, you guys doing good?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fine.
You're fine. Okay. Well, keep in mind for next week, the university is closed on Monday again. So we'll be fine. We'll be meeting on Friday. But if you normally come to the Monday session, there is no Monday session.
Okay,
That makes sense. Okay. You guys have until 9:40.
okay.
Okay. You guys are breakout room 2. How are you guys doing?
I'm still trying to pull up the thing. It won't let me
Okay.
type on it.
Are you on your UNCP email or are you on your personal Gmail?
My UNCP one.
Okay.
I pulled up the Google Docs, but I can't
Yeah.
pull up the PDF.
Oh, you're not going to be able to type on the PDF.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Unless you've got like Adobe Pro, you can't type on a PDF. You have to type like on a separate document.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not just
Hey.
just like a thing.
Miss Carol,
Yeah.
Carol.
Yeah, what's up?
So we type on this separate doc. We're submitting that, right?
Oh, for what you're submitting for the class for, yes, you're going to submit your answers, your individual answers, but on the Google Doc, I want you guys to like talk about it and have a group answer.
How do we switch to like
Okay.
that part?
How do you, so on the bottom of the Google Doc, there is a second tab that says melanoma case study. If you click on that, that's where your group answers go.
Okay.
I know, technology, man. So many pages, so many links.
Okay.
We got a lot going on.
And which group are we?
You guys are breakout room 2.
Okay.
Yes. Katrina,
All right.
Miles, you guys got any questions? Are you guys good?
Oh, I'm good.
You're good. Miles, you good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll let you guys work. You got till 9:40, okay?
All right.
On the edges. And what else did she notice, June?
How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm interrupting your chat. You guys know your breakout room 3, right?
Yeah.
You guys know what you're doing?
Yes.
Everyone doing okay?
Yes, ma'am.
How about you?
I'm doing okay. I'm excited for a long weekend.
Yes, me too.
So yeah, university is closed Monday. If you normally come to the Monday group, there is no Monday group next week. So, everyone good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll let you guys work. Put any questions you have in the chat, okay?
Okay.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Come on back. Just give everyone a minute to make their way back here. Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. Welcome back. Okay, everyone seems to be back now. Okay, let's talk about it briefly. So I'm going to share my screen here. Make sure I have the chat up. Okay. So we read this case study about two women, Judy and Mariah. And the first question asks, what are some differences between Judy and Mariah that might make Judy more at risk for skin cancer? So you guys wrote, maybe she didn't have enough melanocytes to protect her from the sun. Yeah, so that has to do with her skin color. Yeah, she was a lighter complexion. Great. Mariah has darker skin. She has less melanin. Yeah, so the big risk factor is her skin color. The big risk factor is her skin color. So as we learned in the video, you know, one of the things you need to keep in mind for melanoma is that your risk is in part directly proportional to the amount of sun exposure that you get. So even darker skinned people, if you are getting a lot of sun exposure without using sunscreen, you're still at risk. So lighter skinned people in general have a higher risk, but darker skinned people can also get melanoma if they spend a lot of time in the sun. So it's something just to keep in mind here. Okay, what observations did Judy make concerning her mole? Excuse me, got a little tickle in my throat. Okay, her mole was ragged around the edges. It was purple. It itched, jagged, discolored. It looked different. Yeah, so these are all really bad things. I'm going to bring out a little whiteboard here to talk about the A, B, C, D, E's of melanoma. So we want to talk about the A, B, C, D, and E's. And this is how you can remember the signs of melanoma. So what are you looking for? When we say be aware of your body, be aware of what's changing in your body, you want to look at your freckles and your moles and see if they are asymmetrical, if they have, what I mean by asymmetrical is when you look at it, one half should look the same as the other half. Okay, so they should look the same on both sides. Borders, are the borders smooth? Smooth borders are good, or are they like craggly, irregular, jagged, like Judy saw with her mole? Borders are something to keep in mind. Color, right? You want your moles to be all kind of uniform in color, to have the same like dark brown or black color. If you see a mole that is red, purple, blue, bad. This is bad news. You gotta have that looked at. Your moles should also be uniform in color, so you want it to be the same color throughout. And again, I say moles, but it's also freckles. You got to keep an eye on your freckles too. Diameter is the D, and the diameter you're looking for is actually the size of a pencil eraser. So anything bigger than a pencil eraser is something you need to watch out for. So you want it to be smaller than a pencil eraser. And the biggest one is E for evolving. So you want to be aware of what everything on your body is normally, and then watch out for changes. So is it getting bigger? Is it crusting? Is it bleeding? Is it itching? All of these things could be troublesome signs. Could be troublesome signs. So let's go back here to our document. So this brings us to part 2. And part 2, the first question is about the difference between a benign and a malignant tumor. So you guys said a benign tumor is a mass of normal cells. It's not cancerous. Malignant tumor is cancerous and spread. So yes, benign tumor does not have an uncontrolled mutation, stays in one place. So yeah, the important thing about benign tumors is that they're localized. So they're easier to remove because they haven't moved all over. If it's malignant, then you got problems because then it's affecting other places in the body. Judy learned that every single person has these cell cycle genes. What are normal circumstances where you might need those proto-oncogenes, right? So if you have a scratch, if you need to make more cells, right? If you've damaged your cells, if you're growing, all of those are cases where you're going to need to turn on those genes. Great, everyone has these cell cycle genes, but not everyone has cancer. That's similar, right? Everyone needs to be able to grow cells. Okay, so if you're on campus, your class 4 assignment is to turn in the document that you answer those questions on. So hopefully you have your own document. If you just did it on the Google Doc, you can take a screenshot or take a screenshot with your phone of your section of the Google Doc and submit that as your class 4 assignment. So the case study answers are your class 4 assignment. Do you guys have any questions about module 2, about skin cancer, about skin? Nothing. Okay. You guys are good to go then. Enjoy your long weekend. I ask that you continue to be safe this weekend. I know 3-day weekends are normally a time for barbecues and traveling places. So please continue to be smart and safe, and I will see you guys next week.
First, I have a question.
Yeah, what's up, Evan?
I can't find the case study collaborative notes that we had did.
You can't find what you just worked on? Okay.
Yes,
Evan, on a class 4 assignment, just write what breakout group you were, and I'll look at it.
I think I was 3. I don't even know.
I think you were 3 too. Type
Okay.
I was breakout room 3.
Okay.
Greg, what do we do if we did it as a group? If you did it as a group, just take a little screenshot of that Google Doc. And if you can't find the Google Doc, just write what breakout room you were as the class 4 assignment and submit that, and I will know what you guys did.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm around if anyone else has any other questions. Otherwise, you guys are good to go. Do you have any questions, Evan, or you just don't know how to leave?
No, I'm good. I was just doing something.
Okay, okay. I'm going to end the meeting. I'll see you next week.
See you.